that dude is not going to back down. Like, he's psycho.
Real victory for two things tonight: neckbeards and kicking people in the testicles.
Come here for everybody! Get everybody!
At least he got a win this year. He beat the case, so at least he has one win the past few years.
If these champs should only...
I don't want to be doing stuff like this, but for some reason, I like you guys.
Good.
All right, guys, we're live.
I gotta say, I really love highlights of myself. I mean, I can just watch those all day long.
Oh yeah, we're all narcissists
at heart, 100%. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Sparsi MMA podcast. We are here to break down fights, to prepare for fights, and also, one thing I got to be honest, a lot of people don't realize this. We have an in with Dana. So what we do is we text him. We say, all right, we're about to go live, right? And then he's like, okay, boys, don't worry. I got you. And he makes his fight announcements accordingly. I really appreciate that he does that, man. It's really cool of him to do that.
Yeah,
so,
he's texting me right now.
What's he saying?
Hold on. I can't say it yet. Maybe at the end of the episode. If you guys watch till the end, then you might be able to figure out what he said.
Give a don't know.
We did see what he did say. He did announce Gaethje and Holloway at UFC 300 for the BMF belt. Probably the biggest news of the week. We do have UFC 297 coming up, but we're going to talk about this just for a little second. This is huge news. We got, like I said, Justin Gaethje and Holloway. How are we feeling about that? I mean, this is huge.
First off, I just want to say props to Simon because he called this a few weeks back. I thought we'd had like a Chandler McGregor fight. Obviously, that's going to be in June. And he said Holloway Gaethje. I thought he was crazy, but here we are, and it's official. Is that the main event though, or is that just going to be the BMF title? Like, do we know like anything else? Is there more that's going to be popping up soon?
No card order yet, so we don't know when or like who's first. I think welterweight title will probably be first, but I don't know. I can't confirm that. Yeah. Kind of depends. It depends on like if you treat that like real title is more important. I don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be another belt on the line other than the BMF belt, my opinion. But it's going to be a scrap. That's what I know for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be one of the – I mean, I don't think it's going to open up the card. I think it's going to be higher up there, maybe like the third or fourth fight. But I'm not sure. Like, I was definitely looking forward to this fight. I think I called it, but didn't you say you want to see this fight, though? I think after you said it, I was like, yeah, I think that I could see that way more happen. Like, that's definitely more plausible than something else.
I think it's something we talked about because I remember we went off on a tangent about whether or not Max would be able to hold up at 155 because when he fought Dustin in Atlanta, he was a little like outgunned, a little outmanned with the power, just a little bit. He still made a good account of himself, but it's just every time he would hit Dustin with like a 4-piece and then he would get hit with one shot and he would move. Like you could see he was getting rocked. Justin Gaethje just knocked Dustin Poirier out cold. MMA math also doesn't work. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Holloway does at 170. This is at 170, right? Lightweight. Or not 170. You're right.
Is this 155?
Yeah.
I hope it's not 170.
Yeah.
I was going to say. Max is going to be on
Holloway. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's gonna be nice because he's usually 145, so he's going up for this because he was fighting Volkanovski for a few times and what's that weight class below lightweight? Featherweight. Yeah, featherweight. So we'll see what happens. Gaethje's looking sharp, knocked out Poirier, so I think this is gonna be a nice war. To be honest, we'll see how Holloway's chin is. Yeah.
Also, by the way, we got one of our fans in the chat right here. You know, we have one of our few fans. He's been watching us for a while.
We got a loyal one in there, huh?
I don't even know how to say that.
There we go.
I want to see how he's doing. If you're still in there, man, let's see what you're feeling about this fight coming up with Gaethje and Holloway. We're super excited
bring him in
for it.
Yeah.
Let us know your call, dude. Do that yet.
Let us know your call, brother.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like he could succumb to leg kicks. We haven't seen anybody with a leg kicking game like Gaethje against Holloway. Holloway's dealt with tough leg kickers, but dude, this is another level. The power that's coming off those leg kicks, they're close. Like, I don't know, man. It worries me a little bit for Max because he was already starting to get a little. It's like when I wake up in the morning and I'm like hungover, like I look a little cross-eyed. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a little bit of a lazy eye. He's getting that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Remember Michael Bisping called him out on the interview? He's like, "Are you okay, dude?" He was cutting weight to step in and fight Khabib. And it was like, they just cut the fight. They just cut it.
I also worry about like Max Holloway. Like he just couldn't handle Volk's strength. And Justin Gaethje, I mean, dude, he's built and he's hard to take down. I think it's going to be similar to that where he just can't handle Gaethje's strength and power.
You think it's a finish?
I do. It has to be. It has to be.
That's
I think if it's a finish though, it's going to be Gaethje finishing Holloway. I don't think Holloway's going to put away Gaethje. I think he's too tough. He's too durable. Obviously, he's a little bit bigger. So I think if it does get finished, it's going to be Gaethje finishing Holloway, which I do see happening. I do.
Ooh.
Holloway's last fight was Zombie. And he pieced him up, of course. That was kind of an ugly finish. Before that was Arnold Allen, which went 3 rounds. It's 5 rounds.
Very close.
So and before that was Volkanovski. So we haven't seen too much. I mean, those are tough guys, but they're not Justin Gaethje. You know, Gaethje's been fighting the best. Yeah.
You say Gaethje has you worried?
No, it has me worried for Holloway, just because I feel like he's in that weird spot where, like, you know, you follow somebody their whole career and you just kind of get attached to them, and like he's like a BJ Penn of our generation a little bit. And if you want to just look at a stat, he's never been knocked down. Still,
yeah,
he has not been knocked down. That's insane, dude. And he's fought people, heavy hitters. I mean, Volk doesn't hit softly, dude. He's got power. He fought him 3 times, he got rocked a little bit, but he never like got knocked down and almost finished. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see if maybe the punch resistance can hold up. My fantasy scenario is that he can somehow hurt Gaethje and submit him. I would lose my mind if I saw something like that.
I don't think they're even going to take it
on that.
Yeah,
they're going to take it to the ground. If it's a BMF belt at UFC 300,
that's true.
One of their backs hits the ground, it's just going to be like they're going to stand right back up. That's if they're not getting knocked out. I think this is going to be a straight up boxing match.
Like stand up only. I got a question for you guys both. Is like with the card order, do you put this like 2 or 3 fights into the main card and then risk like Bilal versus Leon being the main event, or like Weili Zhang versus Zhang? Like, would you risk that, Zhang and Yan? Because both of those fights are most likely going to end up being a decision that's really drawn out. So it gives you that feeling. It's like people leave the UFC 300 was supposed to be historic, and they leave on this note of, well, Bilal just won by a grinding decision, and it was 25 minutes. You might need a banger at the very top. You walk into your car just sad, like kicking the can.
You got me thinking now.
Yeah,
I think that's tough. That's why they haven't announced the order of the card, because they're trying to build it in a way that it keeps people entertained. Like obviously, when you build a normal pay-per-view, it's pretty easy. You have like 4 of the most popular people you can get on there, and then the rest is just all right. Whatever happens. You know, we have a belt, but for this, like they're gonna want to see crazy fights, entertaining fights. And do you start off with that to bring the hype in, or do you end off with it? Like you said with Leon and Bilal, like that's headlining this event. You know how boring that's going to be. You're going to see Holloway or Gaethje getting knocked out, and then next fight's a 5-round slip and slide of just like nothing really happening. Bilal getting poked in the eye.
At least Sean Weili's exciting though. Like she'll make a fun fight. So I think they'll give her the respect that she deserves. If it was like someone, if it was like Esparza or who else, Caitlin Chukagian, like you don't want to see those girls fight, you know? Like you don't put them at the very first fight of the main card. Just get it over with. because it's gonna be just jabs, like step in, jab, step out, dance around, step in, jab, step. Like I don't want to watch that for 5 rounds of my life. I don't. So
Could
Checkmate
someone
Vince
said
says
or
or
Rose.
Rose. Ooh, let's get Rose versus Esparza 7 to really kick it off. Oh man, I
What
say
if
that I
that's a
love
headlining
Rose.
event? We've said that probably the past 3 episodes, but we've literally said Rose and Esparza should headline UFC 300. I think just for the memes.
That's it.
just for the shits and giggles.
Pat
I like to see the
versus his
viewer
guilty
the viewer
conscience.
rate just drop.
Exactly.
What if they had Pat Barry versus Brock Lesnar come out? I should announce that one. But.
What if Pat Barry
That's
knocks
the
out
super
Brock?
fight. That's the super fight Dana is talking about.
Yeah, Pat
That's
Barry
gas.
stepping in there.
I don't know. Oh, he's
Dude,
saying
listen.
she's boring. That's what he said. That's what he said.
She has been boring, like
think-
in
I
that
think-
fight
yeah.
against Manon,
Yeah,
Fioro. But she's scheduled for
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Amanda Hebush.
Yes, that's right.
You're gonna
Amanda
be-
brings a fight. Amanda's gonna bring it, so that's good.
She can knock her out.
Amanda's wild, dude.
Mhm.
Imagine being stuck in a room with Amanda for like 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Have
But I'm
you?
just
Is
saying,
that why you said that?
Why you
I'm
thinking
just
that,
saying,
bro?
I'm just saying, dude. Like, no, listen.
Listen,
Bro,
we're
her,
rolling.
her post fight.
We're live.
Bro, take it elsewhere. Her post fight interviews. She's like off the lines, dude. Like
Yeah, she's wild.
just like nonstop, just going at it. Like take a breath, breathe, like slow down.
You want
It's
to know why
crazy,
she's so
man.
upset, dude? Because she's fired up because she hasn't found the one, brother.
She hadn't
needs
found
you.
the one.
Yeah, she needs you, dude. You're gonna rescue her. You're gonna turn her career around, dude. This is it. You just sit right in there, snatch the microphone out of the translator's hand. Let me take care of this.
Dude, speaking of women's fights, Mackenzie Dern just stepped up to fight Lemos. Bro, like when was her last fight? Like a few months ago. And she got clocked like 3 times by Andrade.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, she's not ready to get dropped again. That's like a few months out, you're getting knocked again. Like Lemos is gonna bring it, man.
You think she's
This
gonna
is
get
a scary
KO'd?
fight. This is a scary fight. Like I feel bad for Mackenzie. She's got to pay that alimony off. You know, it's she's taking the fight just to pay off those divorce bills. But
Those shark lawyers.
California cost of living as well.
That's the thing. Like, I understand that she's got a career as a fighter and everything, but like, and no offense to the dude because I don't know the whole story, but like, you're like raking her over the coals for alimony. It's like, jeez, man, it's tough. Maybe I don't know the story. Maybe Mackenzie's a monster. Who knows?
Maybe she was like beat the shit out of him at home.
You come home, snap up a heel hook, be like, get in the kitchen, make me some Kraft mac and cheese. No. Okay.
But another fight announcement before we head on to something else. But we're still on 300. We got Jim Miller and Bobby Green fighting. This is a perfect matchup.
Yeah.
This is a perfect prelim fight. I mean, this is like perfect way to just start the card off, maybe midway through the prelim, something like that. But this is an awesome fight. I think this is going to be a really fun one.
Do you feel like they're sacrificing Jim Miller to the Wolves, though?
I was gonna say a little bit. I would have liked to see him face Matt Brown. That'd have
Me
been
too.
like the leader in knockouts, leader in wins. Like that's like a headline in itself.
Yeah.
Like, 2 guys that have like historic stats and records in the UFC. But Bobby Green, the last knockout, the last finish, he took a lot of damage. That's like what, 4 months out. There's another one, man. He just got knocked out recently. It's like fighting again soon. It's scary. Because this dude, I mean, Jim Miller, Jim Miller, I think is going to wrestle him, but I mean, still, he got knocked out pretty hard and just coming right back into it. I have to do a full fight camp to prepare for the fight. That's the thing too. Like, the fight's in 3 to 4 months. You got to put in a camp between now and then as well. So you can't really do much sparring as far as boxing goes if you just got knocked out like bad.
I think
3 months.
I think like I think it works out for Jim Miller in a way because he's already in shape. So on that side of things for Jim Miller, he's already kind of in shape. He's an older fighter, so it's his camps and his weight cuts are a little harder than they used to be. So it coming up in 3 months, he can kind of stay a little more prepared. But you're right about Bobby Green. Like The problem is like Bobby Green's not like Jim Miller old in my opinion. Like I think Bobby Green can still compete as he's shown, but he did have that brutal knockout. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like Bobby Green is not as far removed from the prime as Jim is. Although
he's moving away from it, but he's not like towards it. I don't think he's at the complete end almost. I think obviously Jim Miller's probably going to retire. I don't think I think Bobby Green has like 2 more years in it.
Yeah, he's
weird. Like he fought Fiziev and gave Fiziev all he could handle, and then Fiziev was in basically a number 1 contender spot against Gaethje like the year after. Yeah. So and then all of a sudden he's face down, ass up, getting just murked by Jalen Turner, which that ref should have stopped that fight. Honestly, 15 seconds before he did. He let him take an ungodly beating. And it was like, dude, he already got his highlight reel finish. Why do you need to let him just tee off? He's got both hooks in, flatten him out, just boom, 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 finish. It's like he probably got awakened a couple of times by the shots and put back out. It's like you fall and you wake yourself back up sometimes. Like your butt hits the mat, people realize they're like, whoa, oh my God, I just got dropped. It's just with Bobby Green, like he gets into that thing where he starts talking in the ring a little bit, that Kevin Holland thing where they start getting more into the performance rather than the fight. That could work in Jim Miller's benefit as well, because he's all business in there right now. He's just trying to get out of there. And it looks like he's chasing a finish almost every second. It's so weird to see a dude his age doing this. I know he's not fighting the best people in the entire division or anything like this, but it's pretty impressive, dude. Like Gabriel Benitez, he's not like a washed fighter, and his kicks are savage. He was getting all of his kicks checked, and he just once it got to the ground over the weekend, it was honestly, was it so great to have fights back again? Yeah, we won't spend much time on this, but we did see Ankalaev flatten Johnny Walker, and he's back in contention. That follow-up shot against
Johnny, dude. Johnny's taking some damage too, man.
Did he break your heart a little bit?
It's almost like Jamal Hill, like 2.0. That was the same sort of position he was in against the cage. Just takes that follow-up shot right to the cheek. But no, Ankalaev, though, that dude, Ankalaev is a problem, man. I would love to see him versus Pereira. Or Jamal. I mean, those three, like, we'll see how Jamal acts after his recovery. But those 3 guys are fun to watch. Very fun to watch.
Speaking of Ankalaev, somebody who trains with Ankalaev on a daily basis, folks, it's time. We got to cover the main event of this weekend just a tad bit, just a little bit. So we've got DDP, lovingly referred to as DDP because I think everyone loves saying that because it's easier than saying his real name. Dricus or Dricus, depending on who's saying it. Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland for the 185-pound title. It's an excellent fight. It's like somebody went in a time machine back to UFC 4. It was like, guys, just get after it, all right? And you all get like free Hungry Howies afterwards. Yeah. It's very reduced in technique. It's just going to be 2 savages slanging and banging. My take on this is if Sean Strickland can weaponize his pace, he can finish him. He could do it. I don't know if he will, but if he can weaponize that and just keep him away, keep him tired. Because look, DDP gets gassed all the time.
But he did have that surgery. He did have that surgery, and like his coach said, which I don't believe. I think there's no way this is possible. He was only getting 8% of the air coming through his nose, which is probably impossible, but I believe that it was bad. I think after he got that surgery, he's a new fighter. Like he looked so much better against Whitaker. Now, I think cardio wise, he's a better fighter. When it comes to the other skills and the other, his actual like striking and his awkwardness, can that benefit him? Yeah, but I don't think he's like enough to take down Strickland, in my opinion. I think he has the improved cardio, which is going to help him. I don't think it's going to be a quick finish, but I think, if it goes the distance, it's definitely going to help him. He definitely has way better cardio than he has before. But yeah, I don't know.
He didn't get tired against Robert.
He didn't.
Yeah.
But no,
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's
think
what I'm saying. It was a night and day difference between his cardio. So I mean, that's one of the biggest things when it comes to fighting is your cardio and your breathing. I mean, look how important it is for Israel Adesanya between rounds. He has to stand and breathe. He makes it a very big importance. Watch behind his scenes for the fights. It's a really big deal for him to focus on his breathing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Sean Strickland. I think one of the things he can do, one of the things he can do in this fight is do some wrestling, just to see how his cardio is in the wrestling area. Of course, if he's standing and banging, his cardio is there, as we've seen since fighting Robert Whitaker. But I think if you wrestle him and get all of his muscles more fatigued, I think that'll be a huge difference in like how good Dricus's cardio is going to be. And if you see like all of his videos leading up to the fight, he's wearing a singlet when he trains. So obviously he's doing some wrestling. So I think he's going to use that and surprise some people this weekend and take it to the ground. Obviously, his first submission or his first fight in the UFC was a submission. He posted that today. But Dricus has more submissions than Sean. So, he's got some skills on the ground, but we'll see. That was just earlier in his amateur career. He was getting those submission wins, or if he's actually legit on the ground. But yeah, we'll see how this weekend goes. But I think that's how it's going to shape out.
He's going to revert to grappling. Oh, speaking of which, y'all, we got a comment in the chat. So TechMate Vince, it says, doesn't Sean have a cut along his cheek right now? Think that could play a role? I saw that healing on that Megan Olivier interview.
Olivier.
How do you say it?
Olivier.
How do you say it?
Olivier.
Olivier, that's what it is. Okay. But he looked okay. It looked okay, but the question is, could it open up with getting hit and turn into a cut and stop the fight on cuts? Which we saw that with Jorge Masvidal and Nate. He kind of finished him on cuts. He wasn't really knocking him out. It was just getting ugly. And then the refs were like, all right, the doctors came. But then again, that's New York. So keep in mind, in New York, they will stop a fight if somebody's like, ow, I stubbed my toe. They're really super duper cautious. So where is this at? This is in Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Toronto, right?
It's also a little cautious. I mean, we could see something funky. He keeps saying it's like, well, I spar so much, that's why I take this damage. But, you don't necessarily want to go into a fight with scar tissue. That's something that Nick and Nate always dealt with, is that they would open up in the fights. And it would almost it would make the judges think that they're doing worse than they were. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're cut and they're bleeding, they're wiping it, putting it on the shorts and all this stuff. And it just kind of looks like it's almost like they're losing worse, even though technically they're probably not even getting hurt that bad. But one thing I know I had shared with you guys was that Kamaru Usman fight with Sean Strickland at 170. Now, it was a mauling in so many ways, and he did actually rock him standing up. But here's the problem, okay? I don't think that DDP has even a fraction of the kind of pace or the wrestling that he had. So I don't think he can do that. It's also down a weight class. I feel like if DDP tried to recreate that style of fight, he would get exhausted. He would be gassed out in 3 minutes and wouldn't be able to continue it. So I don't think he's going to try that. He's going to stand with him. It's going to be exciting in that way. But who's your call? Who's your call?
Well, back to the cut for 1 second. I didn't hear about that, but I did see he got shot by a firework when he did a video with Nina. So like on the side, right? It's on his side. It's on his side. I think it looks like staph infection, but it's actually like from a firework. So people were going around like showing pictures of it, saying like, "Oh, he's got staph. It's going to be canceled." But then literally like a day later, the video came out that it was from shooting like fireworks at each other with Nina. So I didn't hear about the cut on the cheek.
Who is this? You got some insider info over here? What is this technique?
Yeah. Technically, Vince is.
Are you training?
Maybe Dana's.
Man.
Technically, Vince definitely is. Yeah, maybe he trains at Extreme Couture, dude. I don't know.
Are we excited to see Sean getting all this shine though? Because look at it, it's fight week. He's front and center. He's on interviews. He's getting commercials. He's getting ad revenue. Who would have thought that was the dude who was going to be getting all this attention? Like, I know I was like talking a lot of shit for the last couple of weeks about how DDP was going to finish Sean Strickland and all this stuff. I still have a nagging sensation that could happen. But now I'm starting to almost feel like sad. Like I hope that his reign doesn't just end in one fight, because this is such a cool opportunity for them to make some money off of Sean Strickland. Like people love him. He's like an everyman guy. You know what I mean?
I wonder who's making more money, Adesanya when he was the champ, or now Strickland being the champ.
Bro,
Who's bringing in
Adesanya.
more? I think so.
Adesanya, for sure.
It was kind of, I don't know. For me, I feel like I didn't really care about him, like what he was doing outside of the octagon. Like he didn't create any news. There was no headlines with Adesanya's doing fireworks in Las Vegas, or Adesanya's riding a 4-wheeler like in the desert. You know, there was none of this stuff.
Adesanya's touching his dog suggestively or something like that.
Yeah. That's all we heard.
I think he's getting paid a big sum, but I just don't think he's as good as a UFC as Adesanya is. I think they pay like based off obviously being good and winning fights and being champions, but they also pay off the relationship too. Like, I don't think they have the best relationship with Sean. I think they have it like it's good, but it's not great. I think it's a thin line of like what he says, and they're trying to maybe censor him a little bit. Like he's already said stuff about him getting censored, so I don't think they want to like. It's like investing too, like they got to invest in him, and he's bringing them money, but in their eyes, they might think he might be gone in 2 fights. Like let's not pay him like a crazy amount. I mean, and the fact he's fighting in Toronto, like I'm trying to think, did he get forced to fight in Toronto, or did he get like a massive payday? Like what's going on here? This is probably the last place I would thought he would have fought, especially with the stuff he says.
Talk shit about Trudeau and
oh, he is, and that's gonna be a problem.
Always.
Yeah,
we already saw with Australia, like they were putting on, like the government helped paid for that fight, and he was already talking crap about him, and it came out that he almost ruined the card. He almost wasn't able to fight. I think Cannonier said something. He said that he almost had the reason why he was gonna possibly replace Strickland is because he was talking so much crap about like the Australian government and stuff, and like there was a big debacle with that. So my point is like, how much are they investing in him is the question. Like forcing him to do it in Toronto, I don't know what goes on behind.
Do you think this whole Nina girl is brought in to like help hype Sean up? Because all of her videos are like Sean. That's
a good point.
It's like we need to like hype him up and get this girl to do these videos and vlogs with him to get the attention that he needs to be a champion.
Do you know what it does? She softens people's like image. Yeah. Because she's fun and kind of sweet and like disarming as an interviewer. So like it kind of makes these people humanized. Like when they sit down with her, like it's not like she's asking like hard hitting questions or something like this, but it's definitely fun still. So like that helped bring him front and center. And it's weird. It's like when Djokovic got canceled for all the vax stuff. Guess what? Still the best in the world. Didn't stop that. Like the organization needs to remove themselves from the things that the athletes say. Like it's okay. Like I wish they would do that a little bit more. Like at least Dana does say that. Like remember when Adesanya and DDP got into it and they started dropping some bombs on the mic, and he's like, they're like, did you hear what they said? And he's like, they can say whatever they want. It's not my decision. It's not what I think. It's what they think. And the truth is, like the emotions in those moments, like you're not going to control what's coming out of your mouth when somebody gets in your face. Like it's going to get real really, really quickly. So yeah, I hope he survives this. My heart is leaning towards DDP, just my instincts based on just the raw power. But Strickland can keep him off of him and actually utilize the grappling. Let's not forget, even though he said he threw his black belt in the trash, it's like you're saying, Brad, he's got one. He's still got one. Let me ask. Go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna ask one thing. Like this is like quick. There's like 2 questions in one, but it's the what about the mind games? Like who does that favor? Because my other question about this was for you guys is, you guys seen how ripped Sean Strickland is compared to his previous fights? I think he's taking this way more seriously, even though he's doing the fireworks and he's filming the videos with Nina. But like we said, that's just to help his image. But like, is he taking this more seriously? And like, is the mind games helping him in a positive way, or or as his week goes along, there's more talking, the press conference, could that affect him in a negative way? And before we go on, I was going to say, I think it reminds me just as like the Leon fight. I can see that it being like that kind of outcome where he uses it as like a positive force. He becomes actually more motivated than he ever thought he could be. But my question for you guys is like, what do you think about that?
Like, does it backfire on DDP where he said something really obnoxious and then he
Yeah.
gets Colby'd? Like, he goes out there and freezes and lays a big egg. Because
Yeah,
I
or
will
could it
say
backfire
this.
on Sean?
Yeah, where he's too emotional. Like, you're right, dude, though, about one thing, Simon. Like, if you look at Sean Strickland right now, he's looking shredded. He looks really, really good, dude. I'm just saying, like, and he's out, he's not even really cutting. Like, I saw like a picture like 2 weeks ago of him sparring with somebody after the fact. They're both standing there doing the usual hang loose photo everyone does. But like, he does look different. He looks really shredded. And I think DDP's always been shredded, but it looks like he might be. I think he's going to channel. I don't think he's going to let it mess him up. I don't think Sean's going to go in there and act a fool and get too emotional and get KO'd. The whole thing with Pereira, I can't really defend what happened there. I don't know what was going on there, man. I guess he's just so hard-headed that he just refuses to not strike with Alex, but you just can't. Nobody can except for Adesanya. That's it. That's really, and Jan Blachowicz actually did okay on the stand-up. He did all right.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see Jiri had staff that week? Had like 1 week of real training for the camp and still went and fought? What a bad decision, man. That sucks. But to answer the question, I don't think it gets in his way. I think it's only going to motivate him. What do you think, Brian?
Dude, I can't read this guy at all. I can't. I don't think he gets bothered by it. I think he's so unbothered by everything, and he's so numb to whatever it is going on around him, whatever the circumstances are, anything. He's just numb to it. But I think he really dislikes DDP. Like, I think that incident at the UFC event, they got into a scuffle. I think that was real. I really do. I think he has some real hate towards this guy. I think he really got under his skin. We saw it at the Theo Von podcast. I think this guy is really getting to him, but I think it's going to benefit Sean. I hope it does. I think it will, and I hope it does, but you never know. We'll see. He's aggressive no matter what, so I think it's only going to benefit him. I just hope he keeps his defense sharp and doesn't expose himself too much, because DDP is not a quick striker. He's just overwhelming. And that's the same with Sean. Like, they're just two overwhelming fighters that come at you in volume. And so I think he'll be fine in this fight. I think he'll take care of it. If it's not going well on the feet, I think he can take it down to the mat and do some grappling and wear him down there and just maul him. Because it's a 5-round fight, and DDP hasn't had a 5-round fight yet, or he hasn't gone 3 rounds, I believe.
Not in a long time.
So this is going to be
the
good
UFC.
for him.
Yeah. He did say he would stab DDP if he brought up his dad again. So he just bought a knife earlier today, but he was kind of doing it in a joking manner. But I agree with Brad. I think he really does actually genuinely hate DDP, but I think he's chilled out a little bit. Like, if that situation happened during the press conference, like the real press conference this week, I might be saying a different story. I think I might be saying, hey, like, this is going to affect Sean negatively. But now that it happened, he had time to reflect and kind of like think about it. I think it might work well for him, just like it did for Leon. But go ahead.
You know what he said today in the interview with Megan? He goes, DDP works really hard. At least his coach keeps him really hard. And he starts cracking himself up off the comment. He's relentless. He cannot.
Here's the thing, guys. Oh man, here's the thing, guys. But all right, let's. Do you want to go over to Arnold Allen versus Evloev?
Oh yeah, how do you say? Is it Mobsar? I said
I said he practiced for all night for that.
Worse than that. It's how do you say it? It's Mobsar Evloev. I think. I don't know how to say it.
I don't know.
You know who's good at pronouncing these like Russian names? Is DC.
Evloev.
Oh, he's got
DC
practice,
knows
dude.
him so well.
Yeah.
Because he's Habib's little brother.
Have you seen where he gets
Big
on
brother.
about how
Big
he's taken
brother.
them down before, and he's how his team did against the Dagestani wrestling team?
Yeah.
DC's ripping them. It's so funny, man.
Yeah.
Let's forget, dude. American wrestling's number one. They're the best wrestling. Come on, man. Yeah, they're incredible.
21st century.
Yeah.
I saw a picture today. I was like, what if? And it had all of these champions in all the weight classes, all Russians. But it's very possible that these things played out. It's like, what if, like, the UFC be done? All these champions are going to be Russian in like 3-4 years.
it could happen, which could be weird for the sport because it's people that nobody wants to get behind because of the war, because of the weird political affiliations,
language barriers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's possible, but highly doubtful. Just because there's so many people from different countries, like the UFC, like this. If you guys think about it, think about like some of these random fighters from these random islands. Like it's probably the most represented sport in the world. Other than, I mean, people could argue soccer, which definitely is more popular. I mean, think about all the players on. I mean, all the people from different countries that are like in the main platform. Like you don't see
It's
that
super diverse.
Diverse, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, let's dig into the fight. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, just Arnold Allen and Mosar. I think it's going to be an interesting thing because isn't Evlov coming off of ACL? He messed up his ACL in the previous fight. Took a little bit of time off. Somebody was cranking on him, messing with him, and he got a little injured. So he's coming back. It's been a
Diego
minute.
Lopez.
That's right.
That was a good fight. Yeah.
That's where we kind of got introduced to Diego.
Lopez. Yeah.
Diego
Lopez
is sharp, man.
Very much so. Well, let's see what what
Checkmate
our boy
Vince. I should love support
I'm gonna bring you on the show, Vince. UFC knows what shots. Yeah, it's true. It is true.
You know what we should do? We should do at the end of every show, we should have someone come on and give us their take for that pay-per-view. They pick the winner and explain why they're picking that person.
I like it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And if they're wrong, they get like pie in the face or some sort of horrible torture. I don't know what it is. But this basically,
yeah, go ahead.
What you got?
Oh,
this is just a fight. Oh, you go ahead, Simon. Go ahead. You're gonna say it. Let's say it. You got something you want to say? Let it out.
You there, Simon?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing to say? You're just gonna keep quiet?
I thought you were gonna say it.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, I thought you guys couldn't hear me first.
Yeah,
he's not gonna let us know. He's not gonna let us know what he was gonna say.
I was gonna say who. I wonder who they had for the DDP and Strickland fight because they didn't say anything.
Oh yeah,
we'll bring him on.
Yo, chat. Who do you have?
Chat, 2 people.
Yeah, guys, talk amongst yourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys got a buddy in there, 2 buddies.
Well, here's the deal. They've got it on as background noise while they're watching the hub. So, guys, turn it off. Pay attention to the show. God, dude. This is not supposed to be background noise. This should be the only thing you watch.
It's supposed to be focused. You can't be having any distraction when you're watching us. Like we give the best information. Like if you watch us, you're gonna get all your bets right. Go ahead and use our code in DraftKings.com.
Exactly. Guys, you're gonna be rich off of my picks.
As long as you're fading us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We sat and watched a card one time, and it was the first time we ever watched fights together. I was calling fights down to the method and round they finished. And then as soon as I got on a show to start talking about it, I was wrong all the time.
Sometimes when you overthink it, you say the wrong stuff. You just think about it too much. When you're just kind of chilling or you're not thinking about it a lot, you're just enjoying it. You actually can pick it right, but I don't know.
It's like your instincts. You just trust it. Like, oh, this is what I think is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But now I got to worry about this chat. Like they're following me everywhere. They're criticizing me. I make one wrong pick. They're all over me.
They show up to my house in the driveway like paparazzi. Like, man, you lost your money this weekend.
Yeah, I had to sign an autograph at
Walmart.
I had to sign an autograph.
Line asking me why.
Really, dude?
Yeah,
I finally recognized you.
Yeah,
at the Super Walmart.
Yeah, they said, "Aren't you that guy from that show I watch every Tuesday night at 8:00?" Yeah.
I'm trying to picture what you were doing. Were you like ruffling through all of the like the $3.99 DVD bin, that giant bin? You're like looking for a copy of like Twister.
Yeah. I'm not gonna talk about where I went next, but yeah.
So
right,
anyway,
let's move on.
Fights. So Arnold Allen, he has a great chance of winning the fight. He does. He moves up the chain and holds on to his ranking at 145. He has got nexties, especially considering Max is now going to go off and fight for the BMF title and most likely get brutally finished and retire. So we'll see. we'll see. I think that he has a good chance of winning it, but if Evloev didn't lose a step due to the injury, he's going to come back. And pardon my French, he's going to wrestle fuck him. And there's not even going to be an inch of space to move, to think, to breathe. He's going to be reacting consistently over and over and over again to everything he does. And that's how he does this. Evloev just gets you into this rhythm where you're defending against him and you're never initiating offense. You're always reacting to his stuff, right? So at the same time, Arnold Allen has that sneaky little ninja choke that I saw him catch that cat from Bellator, Mads Burnell, back in the day. Mads was putting on a striking just clinic against him, beating the crap out of him. It was one of the last fights that he had before he got cut from UFC, right? So he gets to the very end. He's about to really close it off and gets caught in a ninja choke, like right before the end of the fight. So one possible outcome, if you really want to get crazy out here, I don't know what the line is, to be honest. I don't know what the line is, but there is a chance that Allen minus 200 Evloev.
Yeah.
Okay, they're smart.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the right way
saying,
to go.
I interrupted you. Go ahead. You were saying there's a chance.
There's a chance he could overextend and put his neck in the hole a little too long and get caught in a submission. It's possible, dude. Allen's been up there at TriStar with what do you call it? Who is GSP's coach for Asahabi? So they work wrestling. Their jiu-jitsu is tip-top Magoo. So I don't think that he's got like that kind of hole in his game. But we'll see. What did you guys make of like the Holloway fight with Allen? Did you feel like you were impressed, or were you kind of like, this guy is basic?
I was impressed. I think this is a big fight for him. I think if he wins this fight, he could be getting a title shot, or at least one more fight away from it. So if he can catch Evloev, or even just like a submission, or even just keep it on the feet somehow, or just catch him coming in and catch him with uppercut when he's going for a takedown. If he wins this fight, man, he's going to be one of the title contenders, obviously. And I think he's got a real shot against some of the top guys. The top guys are strikers in that division, so he'll match well against them if he can get there. So I think this is a tough test for him, but if he gets through, yeah, he's got a good shot. But I don't know. These guys don't fight too often, so it's hard to have a good base of what they're or how talented they are.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Allen. I think he could be one or two fights away from a chance at the belt. It's a weaker division, in my opinion. So I think you have more opportunities. And I was impressed with the Holloway fight. Before that, he had impressive wins. So he had he knocked out Cater and Hooker. So pretty decent knockouts, if I would say. And then, we'll go in 5 rounds with Max Holloway. So he's a young fighter. I think this is a good prove yourself fight.
You know what's kind of funky about it? Like, these two guys are more towards the top, in my opinion, than Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega, who are going to fight in like 2-3 months from now in a main event. They're higher ranked. It's like they're stars that, once again, here we go again. That's what Vince said. It's stars. It's all about like marketing the people who are like going to bring in the biggest eyes, and the following of Yair and Brian Ortega is huge. But I mean, I would love to see, let's say Yair takes that fight, maybe get little Allen versus Yair. Even if both of these guys lose, you match those guys up together. That's an interesting fight, because Yair's a dog on the feet, and his grappling is getting better. Like, he managed to dislocate Ortega's shoulder, but who knows if that was a nagging injury that already happened. Like, that's why we need to see that rematch. But it'll be an exciting fight. Down the chain, we got Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is clearly a setup for Barriault to look good in Canada. It'll be at home for him. He used to be I forget the name of the promotion back in the day, but it was like a lesser professional promotion that he was the champion of there before he came to the UFC. And he's kind of like, when you guys see him this weekend, tell me if he doesn't remind you a little bit of DDP. He's very unrefined, but just like he's just gritting his teeth. He's just getting through it, man. So we'll see. I think that is a very good. Oh, go ahead.
Matchup. Yeah, because Chris Curtis is the same way. Obviously, he trains with Sean Strickland, so he's sparring with Sean. Most weeks, same kind of style as Barriault. Just coming forward, heavy hands, like Philly shell. I don't know if he does a Philly shell or not, but it's the same kind of just like heavy boxing. Does some kickboxing in there. So I think he's used to that style. But again, he lost to Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin, we saw that went with Sean Brady. Like, he's not what he used to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say of Chris Curtis, man. I think he's good, but he just can't. He can't win those fights that he needs to win, and so you can't trust him to perform how he should against a guy like Barriot, who I think is beatable. I think it's a toss up, but it just depends how he comes out.
It's like he's gonna find a way to lose.
Yeah.
That's how
He's
he
got
is.
the
I feel
talent,
like,
but
yeah, he has all the skill and talent he needs to win fights. It's just he just doesn't win them. He has bad luck in some of them, then some of them he just gets dominated. I think he's just one of those fighters that's more like a journeyman, right?
Yeah.
Like he's good enough to be in the UFC, but no huge wins that gets him to like the next level, no championship fights. But this would be a good win. I was a little surprised that Chris Curtis is a 195 minus 195 favorite. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Which is surprising, especially with it being on the home turf. So for Marc Andres. So we'll see how that turns out. That might be a hole in the betting or it's just wrong, but
I would almost take the over in that fight to go to decision.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Curtis likes to go over unless he's gonna knock someone out. But I think a lot of his fights have gone the distance. Decisions.
That's a smart bet because, and I don't claim to be smart enough to make this call, so I'm going to give credit to who did. I was watching Dan Hardy and his wife on their show, and they were talking about this fight specifically. It was an interesting take that she had where she's talking about how Chito Vera is a similar kind of fighter where they're almost like, and Jorge Masvidal does this sometimes too. They've been in so many fights. Like Chris Curtis has had like 40 fights. This guy, like, we haven't seen him for that long. He's had some fights, man, a long career before he got the UFC call. And some of these dudes that spar this much and train this much, they made a really good point about this, is that they're always kind of like getting through it and they're waiting. They're like waiting for you to get tired. They're waiting for you to make a mistake. And they're like, okay, I saw an opening there, but I'm going to give it a second. Okay, boom. And they're slick. Their movement is slick. It looks good. But like at the same time, the other person is landing meaningful offense. Like, look what happened with Cheeto when he fought Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen was like, no, I'm not going to play that game. You're not going to like knock me out in the last 30 seconds of the fight. I'm not doing that. I'm going to be too elusive for you to catch me. So here's the deal. All those 3-4 minutes of each round where I was dancing around, popping you with jabs and leg kicks and things like this. Yes, I wasn't knocking you down, but I was landing offense and you were just taking it and walking through it. And yes, Cheeto's like a Terminator. He takes shots really well, but sometimes the fight gets away from him. And I see that with Curtis. Like he lets the fight get away from him. He's there. He's every bit in it, and he's not getting finished, but he's not the one that's landing like a trident weapon. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Marc Andre could have a big moment.
Alex, were you scrapping in the parking lot at Harris Teeter before this, man, or what? You got
he's got the
fingers taped up. You got the jacket on like you were just outside, like going out and about.
John Wick, dude.
You had someone trying to steal your cookies at Harris Teeter?
I was parked at Harris Teeter, and the sign said people with children only, and they said, "You got children?" I said, "Brother, let me show you something, dude." No, honestly, both of my fingers are like missing skin on the outside of them. I was just doing something silly, so I'm missing some skin. So I tied them up. Yeah,
the right or left hand?
This is the power hand, as they call it.
Okay,
you know,
I just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah, this is the one that.
Did you knock the mom out with the right hand or the left hand in the parking lot? Or was it the dad? Which one was it?
Oh, it was the mom. It was the mom.
Oh, okay.
It's Sean Strickland fight week, man. It's the mom.
The most inappropriate fight possible.
But before we close it out, we'll highlight a couple of their fights. I want to highlight the Neil Magny and Mike Malott, however you're supposed to say it. I know it's like a little unique. Malott. I want to highlight that fight. I think that's Mike Malott is probably one of the most hyped Canadian fighters right now. That's up and coming. I didn't know this. Well, they highlighted it in his last one, but he took a break from fighting the coach, so he's not super young. Like he's an up and coming fighter, but he's 32. He's right in his prime of fighting, which is very unique. Like I thought he was super young when I first saw him, but I guess he took a break to coach. He comes from a family of a lot of athletes, so I think this he's a real deal, man. But the issue is he doesn't have any impressive wins. So this would be his first somewhat impressive win. Fighting another journeyman, like I was talked about with Chris Curtis, Neil Magny, who we saw didn't look too good in his last fight. So I think it's an easy win for Mike, but it's definitely he's going to have to show what he has compared to his last fights. He was fighting some nobodies in his last few fights in the UFC. So we're going to see if the hype's real. It's going to be on Canadian turf, so I think that's going to be cool. I think it's going to help him a lot with his UFC career if he gets a knockout, especially if it comes for the marketing. Marketing his next fights. He could definitely market fights the future Canadian UFC fights. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. How do you guys feel about that one?
Dude, I think he's the real deal. I really do.
Yeah.
He's finished all of his opponents, all in the first round except one, which is early in the second round. So he's like not even getting to the third round all of his fights. So he's finishing guys fairly easy. Submission, knockout, either way. I think he's got the power to shut people's lights out, and I think he could do that against Neil Magny, who's easy to hit, as we saw against Ian Gary.
And kick.
Neil Magny doesn't have much power. He's more like a volume guy. I think Mike Malott, he'll get the knockout. This is a good matchup for him. Good for the UFC to put this matchup together in Canada to make a name for himself against a guy who people know as Neil Magny. So I think it's a big fight for him. I would love to see him finish Neil Magny, and then hopefully somewhere down the line he gets Ian Gary.
Oh,
I would love that matchup. I would love.
I was going to say too, he's like a welterweight that's up and coming that I can definitely get behind.
Yeah, I
definitely would want to see him succeed more than Ian Gary. Like he has a cool history. He's very likable. Yeah,
he's not a.
He hasn't lost since like 2014. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think that's when he took his break too. Right after that.
Mm-hmm. And it was somebody with massive power. It was Hakeem Dawodu, who is actually a great fighter, and he's super powerful at that time, especially. So, like, I don't see Neil Magny right now. It's never been Neil Magny's thing, like super power. It's more like he's like a torrential rain, like he wears you down. So, you know, I think about that fight where he got arm triangled by Rafael dos Anjos. I feel like this could be a little bit because I'm looking at that record for Mike. He's got a lot of subs recently, man. It's like RNC. Let's see what it's like the last.
In the UFC, it's been knockouts. He got one submission, but I think in the UFC, it's been.
His last two in the UFC were submissions, and then
they were. That's right.
And then
I got
a submission in Dana White's Contender Series, and then he got a knockout on.
Mickey Gall.
Yeah,
I was at that one. Mickey Gall. I was there for that one in Jacksonville.
That's the issue with Mike is that he doesn't really have any impressive. He has impressive wins, but they weren't over impressive fights.
Yeah.
Names.
That's the issue. And Neil's a big jump from some of the guys he fought before, which is saying a lot. I'm just saying.
The old Neil was a jump. This Neil is like. I think Ferguson and Neil Magny be a good fight.
Neil finally get that win. Neil will be back on track with that. You know, one of my favorite aspects of the show is Brad's just total disdain for washed fighters. He's just like, get out. We're gonna send you to the glue factory.
Some of these guys, man, like Chris Weidman, Bruno Silva. That one's gonna be brutal.
That's a bad matchup.
It's marketing, man.
Goodbye, Chris.
Good New York guy in a New York card. That's the only reason why they're doing that. With the name.
It's a Long Island card again.
Yeah, I think Ray Longo. I heard his interview, or he was doing the regular podcast with Anakin Florian. And they asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, he was coming off a 72-hour fast. He was feeling good. He was looking in the mirror, feeling confident, and he accepted the fight right after that, after the fast for 3 days.
Oh, yeah. I saw him post.
And Ray was like, yep, he did what he wanted, but he didn't say he wasn't a fan of the fight, but you could tell. It's like, it wasn't a smart fight to take. But Chris was feeling the endorphins, man. He had a 72-hour fast, looked in the mirror, he was shredded. He said, I want this fight.
Dana texted him on Snapchat at that moment as he's checking stuff out.
He was sneaking in his house and seeing how he was doing. It's all right. Now's a good time to ask him. Let's do it.
Offer him Bruno Silva. I like Bruno Silva a lot, dude. Didn't he fight the pirate? Didn't he just fight the pirate
too?
He did just fine.
I forgot his spot.
He fought the guy with the crazy eye. Yeah.
He did. Okay.
He kind of got worked though.
The bullet.
I mean,
he did.
He got worked in the later. Once the bullet got comfortable, it was over.
His legs were getting torn up.
So I think it's a possible fight for Chris.
What if he wins?
In New York too.
What if 72-hour fast Chris Weidman is a mythical fighter unlocked, like Sea Level Kane? Like, what if that's all he needs to do is not eat food, and all of a sudden he just beats everyone? Dude, is that
Let's see
it?
what
Next
happens.
time?
Nothing, I'll put nothing past him. Although he did look very, very, very slow against Brad Tavares.
Yeah.
Very slow.
Listen, Chris Weidman, he's around here, okay? So you watch what you say, brother. He's gonna get you. So, moving down the card, we got a title fight between a couple of ladies. We've got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Raquel Pennington, perennial contender Raquel Pennington, who we all remember for her gutsy performance against Amanda Nunes, where she was getting hammered. Or wait a minute, am I wrong? Did she fight Cyborg or Amanda? Which one was it?
She's been in the game for so long, dude. She's probably fought
Who?
both.
I zoned out.
Pennington.
Raquel.
Oh, she fought Pena or
She's
Raquel
been around so long.
Pennington.
oh no, Nunez. I don't know why I said Pena.
Yeah, Nunez, she lost.
It wasn't
Nunez.
Cyborg.
She lost to Nunez in 2018.
Here we go. Caitlin Vieira, Holly Holm. There we go. Amanda Nunes. Yeah. Here's one thing I'll let everyone take it from here. I just have one rant I got to go on. Holly Holm is one of my least favorites. Okay. And she's a good person. I can tell. She's a really good person. But I've always disliked her fighting style. She kind of like spars with the air. It's a little bit of that Caitlin Chikagian thing that you're talking about earlier, where you get that vibe where they're just kind of like, like jabbing into, and they're like way too far away from their opponent to even hit them. People have been frustrated with Holly Holm headlining cards for the longest time. And Bueno Silva came in and she put an end to it, man. She went in there, choked her out, and then didn't get her flowers from it because of the whole drama with the testing and all this stuff, which I got to be honest, man, everyone should look into that on their own. The testing drama was a little bit unfounded. I don't think she deserved to get like her name dragged through the mud. It's another USADA faux pas, in my opinion. It just has that feeling to it. So I really think this is her redemption arc. Her submissions are nasty. So I think she's going to come in here and she's going to put her out with something. Her choke game and her finishes are really good. She submitted Jillian Robertson, who's got some of the most submissions in female history in UFC. So that's my 2 cents on this one. I know it's not everyone fired up, but
yeah, she's minus 170, and if I were a better, I would take that all day. I think Raquel's, she's past it, man. Like her glory days are over. Yeah, I think there's not much.
There you
left.
go again.
There's really not much to say. The problem with
You
this
hate it when
division-
someone's washed.
She's like it's like a sparring match when you watch her. She's not going to hurt the other person, really. You know, she might get the job done, but it's going to be like a decision. She's just not really a threat anymore, in my opinion. I think the old school days where the fighters are less talented, she can get away with it. But now these people they're so. I mean, everyone's evolving, and there's levels ahead of her now at this point.
I think it's tough too. Just this bantamweight, women's bantamweight, it's just hard to get behind right now with no big names. It's like it's always been carried by Nunes and Rousey, so it's just hard to, they got to find someone who can kind of be the face of this division. So that's what I'm kind of looking for next, to kind of bring some hype to that. I mean, Pena, she's hopefully can come back soon. I mean, she could be a big name. I mean, she already is a big name, but
Blanchfield, is she in that weight division?
She's one down.
Yeah, she's one down. There's really not much going on in this division. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to say too much. I'm not really looking forward to this fight, but hey, if it's a really entertaining fight, something crazy happens, it could make them way more popular and this division could be great again. So who knows?
Yeah.
But I highly doubt it.
Do you still have any viewers watching this? It says 2, but
I think we do. Yeah.
I'd like to see. I want to have someone come on and give us their picks and why. Just one person, maybe 2.
In the chat. I don't know how to bring them in. I don't know.
Oh, it won't let us.
We gotta figure that out.
If anybody's in the chat right now, let us know who you got this weekend. Sean or DDP, or anybody else in the car that we talked about, or just be the prelim fight.
A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of people watching me, but they're like on this side. You can't see them. They're on the other side. There's like 4,000
live
people
audience.
watching. Yeah, exactly. I'm in front of a live audience. It's like NPR, but it's just really canned. The audio is canned.
Yeah, there's like a glitch with YouTube. Like we really have like 2,000 viewers. Like a glitch where it says two, so.
It erases all the zeros. Shit.
Yeah,
It's like a bank
Email
account.
them
I
about
really got a
that,
few
man.
more millions. Just a bank account takes away a few zeros.
I'm gonna close that $4 billion deal to Mark Cuban.
All right. Well, we just hit the hour mark on the live stream. Is there any closing thoughts? I know we're waiting for people in the chat. There's about 2,000 of them, so it's kind of slow. But
it's lagging.
any closing
man.
thoughts for this weekend? What are you guys excited about? And then we'll close it out.
I am excited for an old school slang and bang because it's not going to be technical. It's just going to be fun. And honestly, I think we all need that a little bit. I think we're all a little burnt out on feints and technical fights. It just gets a little bit tiresome, especially to people who are like casual fans. I don't think they want to see that every single time. They get bored. Like Leon versus Colby, that took the juice out of the fans. So I think this is a great card to pick everyone's spirits up a little bit. Let's get back to it. It's a full year. And honestly, from here, well, that's a good call. Vincent Chaska, Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain, baby. Him and Jillian Robertson are on this card. Those are two fighters to watch if you guys are looking for up-and-coming people. Jourdain's fighting Sean Woodson. There's stuff to enjoy on this. It's pretty stacked. And just so everybody knows, from here on out, it's a march up, dude. The next couple of cards are freaking stacked. 299 is insane. 298 is insane. Yep. We just want everyone to just engage. So come and talk crap to us. Give us recommendations for topics. Say whatever you want to say. We're ready for it, and we want to hear what you guys want to hear to talk about. You guys got anything?
Yeah, I just want to say Brad Katona, Ultimate Fighter champion. He's super talented. Fights at SBG, Ireland, SGB. SBG. So I think he's older than what he looks. But he's like uber talented guy. 32. Yeah. He's a problem. He's tough, he's fast, he's strong. He doesn't have much time though to make a run. He's in a smaller weight class, so obviously the speed's the first thing to go. So yeah, I give him 2 or 3 years. He needs to be like in the top 5. If not, then time might pass him by. But I think he'll win this weekend. And I think he'll get some more momentum and get more people to know who he is. I think he's very talented. And he's fun to watch. He's a banger. He throws some bangers. So
yeah, he's explosive.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to hopefully a hype card, because most of the time these cards that are a little mid-tier, they're not getting hyped up as much, can bring a lot of good fights, a lot of finishes. So I'm just hoping that we get that. The first pay-per-view of the year, we just had a fight night. It was all right, but we finally got a pay-per-view this weekend, so I'm excited. I hope let's just get some entertaining fights, man. I don't know. I don't care who it is. I just want to see it. So yeah, that about does it. We're an hour in. If you're still watching this, make sure to check out the Instagram right above my head. Make sure to check out the Twitter. We're posting stuff pretty much every day, every other day. And then we'll see you guys next Tuesday for another live stream, hopefully talking about if Sean Strickland keeps the belt or DDB takes it from him. Who knows? And then we're talking about any other UFC 300 news. And then before we close it out, I was going to say Alex Pereira just announced that he has a fight booked and a date. We just don't know who the fighter he's fighting is. So
that's what they
might talk about
earlier.
that. Yeah, it's booked. Alex Pereira is booked. We have that to look forward to, and just have a good weekend of fights. See you guys next time. Peace.